It's Ash from SuperVideos back for another Dead Talk Q&A for the Walking Dead universe. As always, let me know if you can hear me and see me good. Hopefully people will join, because this was yet another spontaneous live stream. But as always, it doesn't have to be Walking Dead related, but for the most part the questions we're probably going to get are going to be Walking Dead related, so that's why the theme of this stream is Walking Dead universe, but you can pretty much ask anything. And I thought we'll do things a little differently this time around, and that'll kind of help a little bit in terms of the types of questions we get. So the theme of this particular stream is going to be, which Walking Dead show season 2 are you most excited for? Dead City season 2 or The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon book of Carol? The poll is actually on the stream, so you can go ahead and vote. There's a couple votes in already, but if you're just joining, you can definitely go and cast your vote, and we'll periodically check that. And of course you can ask any type of questions you have in the chat, and I'll do my best to get through them. Just gonna check a few things, make sure everything is good, wait for people to join. Everything should be in order. We'll just wait for people to join here and start asking questions. Walking Dead Eternal, welcome back to live streaming. Thank you for that comment. Yeah, so we did one like last week or something. I used to do like weekly ones, and then we stopped, and then I did like every couple of months. But this time around we did one last week, so I'm doing another one this week. We'll see how many people join, but obviously the live streams wouldn't really do anything if there's no questions. So ask your questions, and hopefully we'll get some cool questions going and some good conversation, some good theories. Again, the poll is on the stream, so you can go ahead and vote if you haven't already. I will check that periodically and kind of see where the fan base's opinions are at least the people watching, as far as that question is concerned. But like always, you can ask your questions in the chat below as well. Walking Dead Eternal. What did you think of the ones who live overall? My honest opinions about the ones who live are mixed towards negative. And the reason for that is because I feel like, as much as I loved seeing Rick back and in action, and seeing the badass Rick that we all love, and loved seeing the reunion with him and Michonne, as much as I loved all of that, there was a big part that was overlooked, and a big part that was compromised, just so that Rick can get a particular story. And those compromises were everything related to the CRM and General Beale. I feel like for as much hype as there was, as much build up as there was, they pretty much ignored all of it and quickly dealt with it just so that we get Rick, and that's it. And I feel like that was such a bad move that it just left a bad taste in my mouth. And I feel like there was definitely enough story for Rick to get 2 seasons of The Ones Who Live, and for them to really dive into the ones who, or not the ones who live, into the CRM Major General Beale story. I feel like they didn't need to compromise that story, and they did. Only because they wanted 1 season of The Ones Who Live with Rick. So those are my overall opinions. Walking Dead Eternal, they did rush it a little bit. It wasn't a little bit. They rushed it massively. Not even a little bit. Like, what they gave us was a good 2-season, 8-episode per season story. And they just gave it to us in like 6 episodes, I think. It was 6, right? So that was insane to me. And I feel like if they didn't build up the CRM as much as they did, and they didn't hype them up as much as they did, it would have been maybe fine. But because of all the build up, because of all the setup and all of the hype, it felt like it was meh at the end. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't get what we were expecting. We didn't get what we were promised with the CRM. We could make the case that we were getting what we wanted for Rick's story for the most part, but they compromised a lot to get there. And I feel like there was no need to compromise. You know what I mean? They didn't need to deal with the CRM fully. They could have had Rick just escape in a way where no one's tracing him back, or no one's tracing him back to the Alexandria safe zone or Commonwealth, and they could have had the CRM still exist as a threat, but with Rick leaving. But they didn't do that. They ended up just saying, we just want Rick to completely wipe CRM out, and that was a bad idea. Walking Dead Eternal. Which show did you enjoy most of seeing the CRM the most? The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, or World Beyond? Definitely not World Beyond. Definitely not Fear the Walking Dead. The CRM wasn't in The Walking Dead that much, so I would have to go with The Ones Who Live, because that's what we got. That's the only thing we got, the CRM. So I would say just the CRM in the Ones Who Live story, but it was just so minimal and so basic that all of the setup was just ignored and wasted. I did like that one CRM episode in Fear the Walking Dead though. That was pretty cool. But I feel like they could have done more with that. They just did one episode and they just they pretended like the CRM didn't exist after for a little bit, which just took everything away. Like, all the setup was gone. That we never came back to it until like a couple seasons after Fear, the episode where the CRM was introduced, and it just felt it just felt off. You know what I mean? It felt like they wanted to do something, but they didn't know when to do it, so they just did it, and they did it too early, sort of thing. Dave's Thoughts 2968 says The Walking Dead. It's a Walking Dead stream for sure. And if you mean like the poll answer, both are Walking Dead, so that doesn't really answer anything. But there are 4 votes in, mostly leaning towards Dead City. Honestly, here's my thoughts on Dead City versus Daryl Dixon. I enjoyed season 1 of Dead City a lot more than the Daryl Dixon. But I'm most excited for season 2 of Dead City. Wait, did I get that right? I think I did that opposite. I was most excited going into season 1s of both of these shows. I was more excited for the Daryl Dixon than Dead City, but I was disappointed with what we got. So for season 2, I'm actually more excited for Dead City than the Daryl Dixon. And I have my thoughts why I was disappointed about Daryl Dixon. I've shared that before, but specifically for that question, I'm more excited for season 2 of Dead City right now. One of the things that I hated about the first season of the Daryl Dixon was 2. One is how much of a reach the whole plot was with how Daryl got to France. And the second is what I mean by that is how unbelievable and how unrealistic it was. The second reason is how much it resembled the Last of Us story with the whole this kid is special and all of that. Like both of those two things combined just made me not really appreciate the story anymore. Appreciate the thing that they were going for, because it was like there's no point. You know what I mean? That's the only reason I was left massively disappointed at the end of the Daryl Dixon spin-off first season. So that's why partially I'm not excited for the second season. Walking Dead Eternal. Carol did say Rick came back in season 1 after the finale of The Ones Who Live. Makes sense now. Yes and no. I mean, she didn't say Rick. Everyone is speculating that it was Rick, and it makes sense at this point that it would be Rick, like after The Ones Who Live, but we don't know that. They haven't confirmed. It's probably Rick, but they haven't confirmed. And even if it's Rick, it's a little bit of, it makes no sense. But we'll just go with it. You know what I mean? And the reason why I'm saying it doesn't make sense is because if Rick and Michonne came back, and if Carol was talking about Rick and Michonne, that would be the first thing she tells Daryl. But it wasn't. She chatted with him, said everything is quiet here, just back and forth. And then she mentioned Rick. It was almost like an afterthought rather than this is a big deal sort of thing. You know what I mean? Brett is sleepy. I think it's Ezekiel's cancer came back, giving Carol the push to leave to get to Daryl. That could be it too. At this point, both of those are possibilities. It's just a matter of whenever they explain it, they just have to explain it right, and it has to make sense. But I'm good with both of those. I'm hopeful that it's not the Rick thing because of how sloppy it was. But it would have been cool if it was Rick. But it doesn't. Like I said, it just feels sloppy. The dialogue felt really sloppy. If you're just joining, a few things. First, make sure to cast your vote in for the poll question that we have regarding which season 2 of The Walking Dead spin-off show are you most excited for, Dead City or the Daryl Dixon spin-off. And then other than that, obviously, if you enjoyed the stream, don't forget to smash the like button. If you are not a subscriber, subscribe to join our community, and make sure to press the bell to be notified for future uploads and also for, getting notifications when we go live next time. So far, there's a few votes in, and everyone's going to Dead City or saying they're most excited for season 2 of Dead City. So I feel like I'm aligned as far as opinions on the seasons and how excited we are as the people that casted their vote. So I'm glad that we're aligned, because usually when I don't like a season of something, Walking Dead related, everyone loves it. But, well, there are some exceptions, but sometimes it feels like I'm on the total opposite end. But I'm glad that this time around we're on the same page. Walking Dead Eternal. I'm interested in Hershel's storyline in season 2 of Dead City, because in season 1 Herschel was a bit dark for a story as far as the storyline goes. Yeah, I mean, I am excited for Herschel Jr.'s story in season 2. I hope that he doesn't get the comic story, because that was a little underwhelming. So I hope that they give him a better story. Yes, it would be cool to see him darker, but I want him to not come off as a brat. You know what I mean? So I hope that they change that. But other than that, yeah, it's exciting to see what they're going to do with him. Brett is sleepy. Have you heard the rumors about a Rick Grimes prequel series? I hope this is not true. It would be so dumb. I haven't heard that, and yeah, it would be dumb. Like, what type of prequel? We already got a Rick prequel. The whole story is Rick's from the beginning. Like, what would they show? If you mean like a flashback before the apocalypse, I don't think a whole series of that would be cool. I don't. I think maybe flashbacks would be cool, but not a whole series. It wouldn't make any sense. So I agree, it would be super dumb. And I hope they stay rumors. Walking Dead Eternal. Is it true that the Walking Dead crossover is happening? I haven't heard anything. Gimple did tease it months ago, but he's kept teasing it, but there's nothing concrete. Brett is sleepy. Dan's reviews was talking about it. Said something about the cop stories not even Walker related. Yeah, that would be super dumb if they do that. I wouldn't be interested. Let's just say that. I would not be interested. I wouldn't be breaking it down. Andrew Lincoln, I don't think would even be involved. If he is, how can they make him younger? Look younger, you know what I mean? It would just be, it wouldn't really work in my opinion. And what are they gonna tell us? Like, what story is it gonna be? It's gonna be underwhelming and slow, and I wouldn't be interested in that. Again, I haven't heard anything, so I can't say that it's happening because I haven't heard anything official. It's the first time I'm hearing it from you. Walking the Eternal. Have you seen Dan's review story called World Gone Mad? No, I have not. I know Dan's review. He's a YouTuber, right? But I don't know his series or reviews, whatever that is. Another question for everyone that you can just answer on the chat. What part of the Daryl Dixon season 1 got everyone excited? What part? One sec, I will be right back, but you can keep answering the questions in the chat. Be right back. Alright, apologies everyone. There was an issue with the camera, couldn't turn it on. That's why it took longer. Where was I? Let me make sure I'm not muted. Think I'm good. Let me know if there's any issues with the audio or video. Okay, let me find out where I was. Walking Dead Eternal. Yeah, he made a series called World Gone Mad on his channel. No, I haven't seen it. Walking Dead Eternal, I was excited just to see Daryl back, getting his own show, and when he fought the Walker, I thought that looked like Bane from Batman for a second. Oh yeah, that was the question I had. Yeah, I feel like most people were excited for the Daryl Dixon only because of the concept of variant walkers or fast walkers. I might be wrong, but I feel like that's one of the top things that got everyone excited. It was like the gimmick to get everyone to watch the series. But if you put that aside, did that season, aside from great cinematography and a different vibe, what else did it bring to the universe? Did it bring anything, you know, super intriguing or awesome? I feel like the only thing that it brought was the variants. The only thing that got everyone excited. And that's just not enough. The story was so bad. Well, I shouldn't say so bad, because of course there's worse stories in the universe. But the story was just so basic and so cliche that it definitely got me less excited as it went on. Now we're 50-50 with the votes. 6 people voted, 50-50. That's very interesting. I thought people would be more excited for Dead City. But now, right now it's even. Or it's 50-50. But obviously there's only 6 people who voted, so it's not a super like scientific result, but still. Me bum, none of the shows after the main show matters to me. Honestly, that's true, but from the ones we've gotten, Dead City seems like it has the most potential to me right now. I was totally underwhelmed with The Ones Who Live. The Daryl Dixon spinoff was meh. And Dead City Season 1 was just okay. And I feel like that's where we're at. So as far as the Season 2, I'm more excited for the okay Dead City than the others. Walking Dead Eternal, I give credit for the nuns for standing their ground. Yeah, I mean, that was a cool piece that they added in, but even that felt cliche. Like, it's been done before. I feel like we've seen that type of thing, that type of thing over and over again in post-apocalyptic stories. Like, it didn't bring anything new to the table. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying Dead City did, but I'm just saying at least Dead City gave us a different type of Negan. Like a mixed Negan. not a Negan that's not good, but a Negan that's not bad. You know what I mean? A new type of Negan. So I liked seeing that piece. And I feel like depending on what they do, just checking the camera, depending on what they do in the second season, there's a lot of potential to do something awesome with Negan. And we don't want to see the old Negan back. I think that it's safe to say that no fan wants to see the old Negan again, bashing skulls in of innocent people. I have a video on that coming up in the next little bit. Stay tuned for that. But I feel like what we want to see is a super badass Negan that's as dark, as twisted, but uses it well. Knows when to be the evil Negan that he needs to be. Walking Dead Eternal, what do you think of Kim Coates being in the universe? Well, I haven't seen him in anything else, so I don't have much opinions. He looks cool, like the actor himself, the look, the physicality, he looks badass and would fit, but I don't have much more comments on that. I did a video on speculating what type of character he could play. That's on the channel, you can go and check it out if you're interested. He did play in Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, I know that. I haven't seen Sons of Anarchy, so that's why I didn't know that before. Nebom, I hated how Negan was wrote during the previous or the Savior's saga. Too many of Negan lines were bought from the comics. Negan acted, spoke, and said tedious lines like a child. I could not take him serious. Well, that's the whole Negan vibe from the comic. Could they have changed it to be more realistic, that fit the TV show? Yes, but with that said, tons of comic fans wanted those lines, wanted that Negan exactly the way he was. So I feel like there was no winning there, because no matter what you did, you would disappoint fans. So I feel like they did okay with what they had. What I didn't like about Negan during the Savior's era was his goofiness outweighed his brutalness. Other than the Lucille episode where he bashed Abraham and Glenn's brains in. Outside of that, I feel like he was more goofy than scary, which shouldn't have been the fact, or shouldn't have been the road they go. The comics didn't really do that. The comics, it was balanced, but I feel like they didn't really balance it out the way they should have in the TV show. Again, for those that are just joining, don't forget to vote on the poll that we have on the stream. If you haven't, don't forget to smash the like button. Join our community by subscribing and press the bell to be notified for future uploads and notifications for the next time we go live. Walking Dead Eternal. I think Negan is gonna be season 7's Negan again, just to help Maggie again, to help defeat the main villain. That's what we're hoping for, but like I said, we don't want to see the same Negan back. Not exactly the way you think. I have a video on that coming up, so stay tuned for that, but I feel like there is a very specific story that would work really well with Negan in season 2 of Dead City. And it's very specific. Yes, you could say that it's what do you call it? It's not interesting because it's obvious, but any other way they do it would come off as clunky. So if they can come up with a better way to do it, and if it's as exciting and it doesn't have the problems that I see with season 7 Negan returning, then they can go for it. I'm totally good with that. Walking the Eternal, yeah, I feel like Negan has a plan. Yeah, exactly. He has to have a plan. If we see the same Negan without a plan, and one that risks Maggie and everyone else's lives just because he's leader again, then that's not what we want to see. But if it's a Negan with a plan that knows when to play, both sides, or knows that he has to play both sides, that's a more interesting Negan, I think. I don't know if I said that right, but you get the point. You get what I mean. And I feel like another thing that needs to happen is for Maggie to be on the same page as Negan. For Negan to say, hear me out, I'm gonna be brutal again, but just trust me on this one. If we get something like that and Maggie's like, trusting Negan to, do what he needs to do, but knowing that he's not gonna like what Negan is doing, but she'll know that it's for a purpose, then it would be great. It would make perfect sense to me. Mais bon, I got the JDM. I got that JDM Negan was more like the Joker, like Norman Reedus said, hence JDM's shorter height, thinner body, and constant laugh and smile, but they were not innovative enough with him and couldn't terrify. I sort of agree with you on that. I feel like there were moments where TV Negan was very scary, but there were times where he was just goofy. And I feel like as great as JDM is and as great as it was, it's not really the actor's fault. It's some of the dialogue that they gave him. It just didn't work. Like, there needed to be... It was a fine line between being goofy and being terrifying. Even though it's, like, silly, but it's terrifying. You know what I mean? Like, they couldn't really handle that well, in my opinion. But there were tons of times where they did perfect. Like, they did what I said in a perfect way. Where Negan was terrifying. So, yeah, I feel like some parts worked, some parts didn't. Walking the Eternal, yeah, he's gonna have to tell Maggie about it. Yeah, that's the only way that it would work. Because if he doesn't, and if Negan is just being an a-hole, and Maggie sees this, and to herself thinks, I don't care about him anymore. Like, he's back to his old self. Why would I care? That would be counterintuitive in terms of the storyline they're building. Mais bon, I don't blame the actor. JDM was one of the really good choices. I definitely blame the writers. Absolutely. I blame writers, and I blame not just Negan himself, but the whole story. Like, how they had Rick, or the whole season 7. I feel like the vibe of season 7, because of how badly written it was, it just made some of the Negan stuff also come across as disappointing, just because the whole season was so disappointing. You know what I mean? We've been going for 48 minutes. Let's see how many more people show up and how many more questions we get, but we'll just go for a little bit more and then we'll shut it down. Let's check back the poll. 7 votes in, 57% say Dead City. And I realize I have a typo there, but you all get the point of what the poll is. I'm definitely surprised. Actually, wait, 57% Dead City. Okay. I thought it was the Daryl Dixon one. I would say I'm not surprised. That lines up with what I was expecting. More people are excited for Dead City. I'm surprised that it's this close though. But, yeah. Mebom, I did love Negan's counterpart, Simon, who had a similar look but with a different background and different way to lead the Saviors against Rick's army. Yeah, I loved Simon. Simon was one of the better side villains that we've had in The Walking Dead. I think Beta and Simon are my top 2 B villains. Like, the villain's right-hand men, sort of thing. But they all had them. All villains had them. But these 2 are the best. Best developed, better actors, better stories. Yeah. Mebom, I heard a YouTuber say Morgan should have been the one who died in All Out War and get Rick to let Negan live. I sort of agree with that, especially because of what they did with Morgan and how ridiculous and dumb his story was after All Out War. I would say I agree with that. That should have happened. That would have been a better ending for Morgan. I would say that should have happened over Carl's death. Carl should have never died. Because there was so much potential, not necessarily on the actor, but potential on the story, on future stories for him. He was a legacy character, right? So you just destroyed massively, or destroyed massive amounts of potential story by just killing off this character. Mebom instead of Carl. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I said. I agree with that. I would agree with that. Couple more people joined. Don't forget to participate in the poll that we have. Cast your vote in. Which season 2 of The Walking Dead spin-off show are you most excited for? The ones, or not the ones? Dead City or the Daryl Dixon spin-off? Book of Carol. If you're just joining, don't forget to cast your vote. Walking Dead Eternal, it's like Morgan says, I don't die. Yeah, and he hasn't died. That's for sure. He has a thick plot armor. The questions are slowing down, so we'll go for maybe another 10 minutes, and then we'll call it the stream. Mebom, if Andrew Lincoln was gonna go anyway, Carl needed to live and lead the rest of the show. Killing him off made the start of the show to his death pointless. Carl was someone for Rick to live for. yeah, I mean, Andrew Lincoln wanting to leave wasn't really their choice. They did the best they could with what they had, but killing Carl off was arguably the worst decision that the writers made. I don't know if it was Gimple or who it was, but whoever made that decision, it was a terrible idea. Mebom, I feel if Glenn was to die, being killed during the Savior's arc was not the right time. Well, it happened in the comics, that's why they did it. But I've said that before, and I will continue saying it. They should have never killed two people. They should have just killed one. They should have just picked Abe or Glenn, not both. To kill both was just for shock value. Was just to say we have the balls to kill off two major characters. That was it. There was no thinking about what that would do moving forward. Redeeming Negan was that much harder because of killing two. So yeah, I would say they should have just chose one, Abe or Glenn. I would have been good with either, but I feel like still it was a terrible idea to kill both at the same time like that. Walking Dead Eternal, I like Lydia's character because she's been through all this hell with her mom and Beta and was the only one who made it out. Yeah, Lydia's story was definitely very well done in the TV show versus the comics. I would agree. There's parts of it that they didn't do, which would have made it even better, which would have made her even more of a badass and even more of a survivor. But not doing them didn't hurt it as much. A little bit, but not as much. Now we can get into why they didn't do it, but that's a topic for a different day. See where we're at. Still 7 votes only. Okay. No new votes. We have 5 minutes. So rapid fire Q&A. Ask your quick questions. We'll get them answered, and that'll be the end of the stream. I don't know if I'll do another stream next week. I actually won't do a stream next week. I won't be able to. I have some things next week. But maybe the week after, but we'll see. I mean, I won't promise anything, but I do promise I'll do more frequent ones. And I won't wait months and months before I do a stream. Mebom, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I might just be butchering it. Anyway, having the satellite outpost liberated in season 6 was overkill, because why would Negan kill even just one person when it feels you would kill a lot more than that? I wouldn't say it was overkill. I would say that was actually one of my favorite episodes, one of my favorite parts of the story when it comes to the Savior's arc. I do kind of see your point too, but I wouldn't say it was overkill. Pronunciation on point. Awesome, Mebom. Walking Dead Eternal. Did we ever get insight on who Alpha killed at the end of her story arc in Tales? The woman with the blonde hair. No, we did not, but at this point, I think we're led to assume that she was the original leader or the previous leader of the Whisperers, and Alpha probably joined, was with them for a bit, then killed her and took over. Probably with Beta's help. Mebom, the Junkyard group was such a joke, and Oceanside, that's what I said. Anyway, Oceanside came too early during the Savior's arc. Junkyard was definitely pointless. I agree. They were a joke. Jadis was great in Tales? Not Tales, World Beyond. But I hated her in the original show. I couldn't stand her. Oceanside, I didn't mind. Yeah, they came a little early, but it was fine. They didn't do much with them, though. That was the disappointing part. They didn't do much with them. Walking Dead Eternal, I laughed when Rick made fun of her laugh. I died laughing. Yeah, that was funny. That was pretty funny. She deserved it, to be honest. She deserved that comment. Okay, that's the end of the stream. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Let's just revisit the poll one last time. Same thing, 7 votes. 57% are more excited for season 2 of Dead City, which is what I also thought. But that's it for the stream. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you enjoyed, and if you haven't, smash the like button. Don't forget to do that. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to join our community. Press the bell to be notified for other uploads or future uploads. And when we go live, you'll be notified when we go live. And that's it. I'll catch you all on the next one.